Welcome, everybody, to the NFL Prediction Show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. We are at week 16, and as always, the Grueling Truth is powered by betting.net. Betting.net is your best bet for finding the online sportsbook or casino that's right for you. Make sure you check them out now at betting.net. I am your host for the NFL Prediction Show, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I'd like to welcome in my co-host. First up, Dan Kornhauser. How you doing, Dan?
Doing good. It's nice. Nice being at the top of the totem pole, and just
Your
to get
totem pole is getting shorter, though.
it is little by little every week. You're cutting into my lead, but I am still in the lead. I have a 7-9 after last week's 7-9 record. Mike, you went 8-8. Steve went 9-7. I'm sitting at 114 and 109. You are at 111 and 112, and Steve is far behind. So I'm up 3 games on you with 3 weeks left.
But, plus the playoffs. But, I mean, the thing to remember is it was just like a month ago. You were up 11 or 12 and talking all kind of mad crap. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and our first game, the Jacksonville Jaguars, tonight at the New York Jets. The New York Jets are favored by 2.5. This is a huge game for both of these teams. What do you think, Dan?
I'm going to take Jacksonville in this game. I don't know why the Jets are favored because Zach Wilson is starting, and Zach Wilson sucks. This offense looks completely different when Zach Wilson is a quarterback than when Mike White is a quarterback or Joe Flacco. I mean, Joe Flacco sucks too, but at least he looks better when he's sucking. Zach Wilson is just erratic, inaccurate. He's trying to be Pat Mahomes, and he's not. He's not anywhere close. He's trying, and it ain't working. So I'm going to say Jacksonville.
All right, the line I saw actually has the Jets -1, but we'll play with this one. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the Jaguars also. I think the reason you see the Jets up here, number one, the defense. Number two, Jacksonville, Detroit, kind of similar teams. Detroit barely got out of there alive, but I agree. I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they're going to win this division, especially if Malik Willis is going to be the Tennessee Titans quarterback. Joe, What do you think?
Oh, well, first of all, I'm Joe Spilman, by the way. You didn't introduce me. I appreciate
Well, Dan
that,
screwed it up. Never mind.
Yeah,
Just pick the games. Paul Sullivan was supposed to be on, but he never sent me his email address.
Damn, Paul. Where you at, Paul? Anyway, I'm going to take the Jags as well. I think Trevor Lawrence is playing well. I'm going to go with Jags.
Yeah, and I think the thing that impressed me about Trevor Lawrence was he fumbled the ball last week, but then he regained his composure, came back, drove him down the field, tied the game. They ended up winning in an overtime. So next up, we've got the most important game of the week because I'm a Bengals fan. We've got the Cincinnati Bengals at the New England Patriots. What is the line on this, Joe?
-3.
-3, because I got -3.5. But we'll go with -3. I think the Bengals are in top form. They won 6 straight games. It looks like all the receivers will be healthy, except for maybe the tight end. And when I look at this offensively, they're ready to go. The thing that does worry me, big wind means, maybe this could be a running game, which New England can run the ball well, especially since they got their starting running back last week. He ran for 172 yards. And I would say his name, but who knows how to say his name. It's like Ramrod or something. But Mac Jones is terrible. It worries me if Bailey Zappi plays in the game. It also worries me with the Bengals defense. It looks like most of the guys outside of Sam Hubbard are going to at least give it a try. I'm going to take the Bengals and give the points, Joe.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bengals as well. I don't know, and maybe, Mike, you could shed some light, or Dan, you could shed some light on this. I don't know what the Bengals deal is. That we've had one game this season where the Cincinnati Bengals have come out and flat out played from the opening whistle. It seems like every week they're, they come out, they look flat the entire first quarter, entire first half, and then it's like they get together, figure out what they're doing in halftime, and come out and just flat out play. And I really hope that they fix that kind of crux in their offense, but I think that they beat the Patriots handily this week.
If you look at it last year, the Super Bowl was the same way. They were down 13-3, at halftime? 13-3 right before the half. Also, the Kansas City game, they're down 21-3 in the middle of the third quarter. So I'm not going to – the only thing I worry about with the Bengals are the injuries right now, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the injury report right now, and you said it sounds like Sam Hubbard might tough it out.
No, Sam Hubbard won't. Trey Hendrickson will tough it out.
I was going to say won't tough it out. But Jalen Davis, Cam Taylor-Britt, Jay Tefeli, whatever, Trey Hendrickson, I think is back.
He's going to play. Yeah, all those guys are going to attempt to play. Mike
Is
Hilton's
Hayden
going
Hurst
to
playing
attempt
this
to play
week?
too. Hayden Hurst, they weren't so sure about. It's possible.
Yeah. I'm going to take Cincinnati as well. Kind of boring for us to be picking again. We'll see how many of these we have, but I'm going to take Cincinnati. Mike, for all the reasons you said, they are red hot. And Joe, to your point, when you asked, are we going to see a game where these guys don't sleepwalk? It's a long season, and Tampa Bay, their record is ass, but they do have talent. It is Tom Brady, and I mean, coincidentally, Tom Brady was responsible for all the turnovers last week. But that aside, it's a long season, and the Bengals are red hot. Kansas City only won in overtime against Houston, for example. It's a long year.
Well, Kansas City blew a 27-point lead to Denver and should have lost. But then again, I don't know why we would use Kansas City comparing to Cincinnati, because the Bengals are the better team, and that's been shown multiple times. And I'm sorry. The Kansas City Chiefs have beaten two teams. The Kansas City Chiefs have beaten two teams with a winning record. Let's not buy into stuff until we see stuff. How about that? All right, next up, we've got the Buffalo Bills at the Chicago Bears. The Buffalo Bills are favored by 8 points. Dan?
Buffalo -8. I'm going to take Buffalo. They're just a better team flat out. Fields, you know how I feel about Fields, but they're overmatched in this game. No Mooney. Team is butt. Simple. Buffalo.
All right, Joe?
I'm going to take the Bears in the points this week, and I'll tell you why. I think Fields is playing this week, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I did. Okay. I think, I think we've seen him the last couple of weeks just, turn on fire running the ball. I mean, obviously he's a great ball runner. I think the Bills defense is shit. And I think the Bears have the potential to even win this game. But I think that even with the Bills' great offense, I think the Bears keep it close and potentially win. So I'm going to go with the Bears. Go Bears.
Bears.
Okay. I can see what Joe's saying, because I think the Bills have trouble. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. So overall, their defense is not very good. The one break they do get, though, is the Bears' defense is not that great, is it? And the Bears' offense is not that great.
No.
And the spread that we got here is 8. The one I see is 9, but we're playing with 8. I'm going to take the Bills reluctantly, especially because I think this could be a tighter game than what this looks like, and that's a big point spread, and I need to make up 3 games. But I'm just going to go with who I think is going to win the game. So I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. Next up, what?
Mike, to caveat these were the lines of about a half an hour ago.
Okay. I like the older lines. Next up, we've got the New Orleans Saints at 5-9, and still with a legit chance to make the playoffs, at the Cleveland Browns, who are 6-8. And I'll tell you what, I thought the Browns would handle the Ravens easier than what they did last week. The Browns don't look quite right either. Alvin Kamara's there. What do you think, Steve? Joe almost said Steve.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Browns this week. I think every AFC North team's just a little bit different than every other team in the NFL, and I just don't think the Saints are that good this year. I mean, obviously they're 5-9, but I think the Browns are a better team, even if they are struggling offensively.
All right, I'm going to go with the Browns too. I mean, I'm not pleased with having to go with the Browns, but I think that they are the better team. The thing that disturbs me about the Browns, I don't know if it's a coaching issue or what, but very good offensive line, very good defensive line. No matter what else you got on your team, you shouldn't be 6-8. But when you got Nick Chubb and Denzel Ward, guys like this, it makes me really wonder what's going on there. And I'm going to go with Cleveland. Other guy, Dan.
Other guy. Yeah, I'm going to take Cleveland as well. But for me, something to watch out for is I don't see his name on the injury report, but I definitely saw a report earlier today that Nick Chubb wasn't practicing. So I don't know if that was just
they do still have Kareem Hunt, so they're not,
right. Well, but I was going to say still, losing a star like Chubb, he's literally the engine that drives the offense.
Lou O'Brien, I think, is a fan of Steve or of Dan.
Yeah, he
He
is.
said a little heart.
What is that? Oh, that's a little character holding a heart. I thought that was
heart.
like
For some reason, I can't make it go up. It'll probably have to be Joe to do that one. I can only do the other ones.
No,
All
you
right,
can't make
so
the emojis go up for whatever reason.
are we agreeing on this game then?
we
Everybody's
all
taking
agree on
Browns?
Cleveland. Yes, and the other thing is the Saints. Tons of injuries. Landry, Olave on offense, Werner and Lattimore on defense, and
Hasn't
May.
that been all year for him?
Well, yeah, but
You can make the case. We talk about the injuries with the Bucks. If the Saints didn't have all the injuries, they'd have ran away with this division also.
I would tend to agree, but it's just the quarterbacks are so awful and the coach sucks. That could hold the team back.
Remember this. Are you paying attention?
Yeah.
The NFC South's not very good. So running away with it, they would be 8-6 right now. It's not like I'm saying they'll be 11. Hell, it's 7 wins. They would have a solid 1-game lead. Next up, we got the Houston Texans, the almost team, will play at the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans are favored by 3 points, Dan. This is a mess. And the Titans better get it fixed right now, because if the Jaguars win tonight and the Titans lose this game, the Jaguars are going to win the division.
This is actually for me a tougher game than it should be, and it's mostly because Ryan Tannehill is not going to be playing. He's out, I think, for the season with an ankle injury.
Yeah, and that spread went from -7 for the Titans to -3.
Yep. Actually, I've seen everything from -8.5 to 7 to 5 to.
Well, now you got Malik Wills. That's why it drops to -3.
Yeah. So, I mean, the last time we saw Malik Willis playing, it wasn't pretty, but they almost beat the Chiefs. So take that for what it's worth.
Because the Chiefs aren't that good, no matter what you think.
Despite him throwing for like 70 yards and going for like 4 for 13. But I'm going to reluctantly take the Tennessee Titans in this game, because even though I honestly think they're going to lose, I also know they have Derrick Henry. The man is healthy, and he owns the Houston Texans. I know if you go to Wikipedia, you'll see Bob McNair's name up there or whatever for the Houston Texans owner, but it's incorrect. It's Derrick Henry. Every time he plays,
I thought everybody on the Houston Texans, they're like 1-12-1 or something.
Nah, but every time the Titans play the Texans, Henry runs for like 200 yards and like 2 or 3 touchdowns. It's almost a guarantee.
Joe would run for 150 on him, and he's probably.
Yo, the line right now on his rushing yards is like over under is like 170 yards or something like that. It's something ridiculous. I mean, okay, maybe not that high, but it's ridiculous. So I'm going to take the Titans just because of Henry.
All right, Joe.
I'm going to take the Titans as well. I know that, they took the Chiefs to overtime last week, but I agree with you, Mike. The Chiefs just aren't that good. I don't think they play a really strong schedule. And, I think there's 2 players on the Chiefs team that drives that team, but I don't think the Texans are beating anybody else this year. I'm going to go with the Titans.
I'll tell you what, if this spread was still at 7 or 8, I would take the Texans in a heartbeat, though.
I might.
Oh, yeah.
I think this might be like a 14-10 game. I think Malik Willis is absolute trash. And if he doesn't just destroy the Houston Texans, we will know for sure that he is. So if you're Malik Willis, you can't afford to go, 7 for 15 and barely win the game. I'm going to take the Titans, but this pick does scare me because the Texans have played fairly well. But I also think from watching those games, I don't know if it was the Texans playing pretty well or the Chiefs and Cowboys just played horrible turnovers, stupid penalties, a bunch of crap like that. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out how Patrick Mahomes can go like 79 for 80 and only win in overtime.
Yo, because football is a team game, man. Your quarterback can go off, but if your defense doesn't stop anyone, like you said, Mike, they don't stop the run. They don't get the key stops on 3rd down. Your special teams is giving up field position. Your quarterback can throw for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and complete 85% of his passes, and you only win by a field goal. It happens.
Actually, that doesn't happen, I don't think. But remember this. Betting.net finds the best promotions, offers, and bonus codes so you don't have to. Head over to their website now to take advantage of things like free bets and matching deposits. Doesn't that sound exciting?
It does.
Yeah, it sounds so exciting. Let's go
It
Titans.
does. I like free deposit. So you're going to trash them, but yet you're wearing a Titans jersey.
I picked the Titans.
Okay. Next up, you also pick your nose a lot. The Seattle Seahawks at 7-7 are in a must-win situation at the Kansas City Chiefs, who are also in a must-win situation because if the Chiefs slip up in any of these last 3 games, they're going to be in trouble getting a number 1 seed. Maybe even a number 2 seed could be an issue, according to what happens with the Bengals and the Bills from here on out. But when we look at the Seahawks, the Chiefs, Kansas City is favored by 10. Joe.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Seahawks on this one with 10. I don't think the Chiefs are. I just don't think that they've played well all season. I mean, they've had some great. They've had great drives. They've looked really
How about
good
this?
at times,
Offensively, they're really good. Defensively, they're not.
I 10's a lot of points in the NFL for me, and I'm going to take the Seahawks. And part of that is I'm hoping the Chiefs lose as a Bengals fan. So I'm going to go with Seahawks.
Yeah, but we're not picking winners and losers here. They just got to stay within 10. The Seahawks have lost 3 of their last 4 since the bye week. The defense has allowed 28.5 a game. I don't know, Dan. What do you think? That's a lot of points. And Seattle's got a lot of offensive weapons here.
Well, you say that, but they will be without one of their biggest offensive weapons and possibly 2 of their biggest offensive weapons. One for sure, and Tyler Lockett, who's out with a hand injury. He might be out multiple weeks. And the second is Kenneth Walker, who's nursing apparently ankle and back injuries.
Man, I wish you quit doing research. I was trying to bait you into picking them. Go ahead.
So I didn't know that.
So with that in mind, even though it's a big line, I'm going to take Kansas City. Too much for
me too, but I was trying to get you to go.
Was Walker hurt last week? Walker wasn't hurt last week. He was?
He was playing hurt, wasn't he, Dan?
Yeah.
So
he was playing, but he was playing hurt.
All right, next up, the New York Giants, 8-5-1 at the Minnesota Vikings, 11-3. Minnesota's favored by 4. And we've talked about this, Dan, how Minnesota was going to be a one-and-done team. But I'll tell you, the more of these cardiac Vikings I watch, I think maybe, God is smiling at the Vikings this year.
I mean, the comeback was really impressive, but the luck runs out. And if it's not going to run out in the regular season and get them used to that, it's going to run out at the worst time, the first round of the playoffs, like you've been saying for weeks, like we talked about last week. And they're just going to turn to a pumpkin.
Put it like this. All the teams that were ever considered cardiac teams always lost in that same fashion almost in the playoffs. I mean, the cardiac teams I remember were like the 75 Cardinals, who as soon as they got in the playoffs got knocked out by, I think it was the Rams, 34-23. I can't believe I remember that. You get the cardiac Browns, 1980, where they were the cardiac team all year. I think they were the 1 seed even in the playoffs. And they lose to the Raiders, a wild card team, in the final play of the game. So I don't remember any of these cardiac teams. The Bengals last year, I mean, hell, they won all kind of playoff games at the end. But it seems like teams that do this may go on a little bit of a run, but your luck eventually runs out.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is what you're trying to tell me. The Giants are 3-2 this year on the road, straight up.
Yep, and both of these teams are cardiac kids because the Giants play their fair share of close games as well. But I'm going to take the New York Giants in this game. I don't like this 4-point line. I don't trust Minnesota, even though they just dropped, 30 straight points against the Colts last week. I still don't trust them. I'm going to go with the Giants.
All right, Joe.
How many games out are the Giants from making the wild card right now? Are they just
they're in the wild card right now?
They're in the wild card.
They're in by a game and a half.
They have the tiebreaker over the Washington Commanders.
Okay.
How do they own the tiebreaker? Did the Commanders have a tie too?
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take the Giants in this game as well. I mean, the Vikings did, they overcame 33 points last week, but that's just embarrassing on the Colts. And to be honest with you, they allowed themselves to get in a 33-point hole against the Colts. So, the comeback is what it is. But I don't think 11-3 is conducive to really what kind of football team the Vikings are. So I'm going to go with the Giants. -4 is not a lot of points.
All right, we've got a viewer who's Messages ended. Joe needs a beer. That's Tristan Young.
Yeah. Well,
Dan just drank it for you.
Yeah, Dan's drinking it for me. He's drinking Blue Moon without the orange.
Blue Moon.
Savage.
Actually, I don't know how people drink Blue Moon. This stuff is disgusting.
You know what? To be completely honest, I had this from a party that I went to a few weeks back.
Oh, you stole it.
It's just been sitting there, and I was like, you know what? Why not? I've got a hodgepodge of different beers. I got this. I got a Sam Adams. I got a Voodoo Ranger. I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
Guys who drink craft beer. Are they men, Joe? All right, so I'm going to go here. I'm going to take the Vikings. I'm going to take the Vikings for a couple stats. You know, Minnesota, 7-1 straight up at home. Kirk Cousins in those games, 15 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions. I think they're going to come off an emotional victory, and they're going to be fine. They're playing at home. The New York Football Giants, though, weren't they playing on Monday night against the Washington Commanders? They got a big win. It puts them in nice position. I'm going to take the Vikings, and I'm going to give the 4 points.
All right.
There's our first disagreement, Dan.
There we go.
Next up, well, Dan's got to go first because it's his Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Who, if they win this week, could find themselves sitting in the last playoff spot. And if the Lions are going to make the playoffs, it's going to be in the last spot because they're the Lions. They're going to travel to Carolina to play the Panthers. And once again, the Detroit Lions are road favorites. How many times does that happen? Multiple times in a year?
Honestly, I don't know.
Much less back-to-back weeks. So right now, Detroit's favored by 2.5, Dan.
And you know what? This is going to be the first time all season that I don't trash the Lions. And
you didn't trash them last week, and you picked them.
No, I picked them, but I always pick them with a grain of salt. I always have some little jab I like to take at my team, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it this week. And they've earned my praise at this point. Since week 9, I don't know what the week 9 thing is, but week 9, Trevor Lawrence turned it on. He's been on ever since. Week 9, the Lions turned it on. We have one of the best offenses in the league. We have one of the best defenses in the league. We have one of the best red zone offenses in the NFL.
Who's we?
My team, my favorite team. The turnover differential.
Yeah, he's on the team, Mike.
I don't even call the Bengals we. Dude.
He's on the team, Mike.
That's right.
Have you ever been to a Lions game in Detroit, Dan?
In Detroit, no.
So, Dan, what I want is, how did you become a Lions fan?
All right, so
because you made a comment last week that you'd been a Lions fan for 20 years, but from looking at you, you're twice that age.
Hold on, Dan. Before you tell that story, I want to enjoy the story, so just hang on a second.
What a dick! What a dickhead! Is that a fireball?
Obviously, it was because he just puked up a lung.
You know what? Just turn your camera off.
Go ahead, dude.
That was for you, Tristan. Fireball. Better than drinking a Blue Moon.
But no, okay, so 1998, first game I saw was Lions-Giants. I was 10, 11. Favorite color was blue. Favorite animal was a lion. And then, of course, not knowing anything about the game at all, see this small guy running around people. They can't tackle him. Scores a couple touchdowns. I think the Lions won that game.
No, they didn't.
I didn't know who it was.
No.
But Barry Sanders went in.
You're wrong.
What? Okay, so they lost?
I can tell you this. I remember this game. And the Giants thumped them 30-10. And Barry Sanders got shut down and didn't score.
The game I saw was Barry ran for 100. I think he scored a touchdown. He only averaged like 3 or something yards per carry, if anything. But I know he ran for 100. And again, I thought they won, but whatever. Regardless, I stuck with it. I thought
in 1989 also.
1989, no, 1998 or 1993.
I thought you said 1988.
No, 1998. 1988. Geez, I was 1 year old.
Mike, just let Dan have this. Let him have his moment.
So anyway, point was I didn't know anything.
I made the point that they didn't play in 1998.
Blue Lions, and I thought, okay, why not? Let me follow this team. And then he retired in 1999. I never got to actually see Barry when I cared, and I stuck with him ever since. And it's been a mistake my whole life.
Okay.
My friends told me to change teams when we went 0-16. I did not, and here we are.
Okay, 1998. I'm looking at it right now. I don't remember the 90s like the 80s. They didn't play in 1998.
I guess I like pain.
They didn't play in 1998. Your story is complete and utter. Joe, what's the word I'm looking for?
Bullshit.
Nice.
That's correct. All right.
Where you going, Dan? Hey,
My
Dan.
laptop falling. Hold on.
Even though your story was a complete fabrication and not based in fact in any way, I fucking enjoyed it.
Thanks. Hold on. I'm trying to fix my shit. It was not a fabrication.
They didn't play in 1998.
Okay, fine. 1997, when the Lions lost in overtime. Whatever.
All right. So are you picking the Lions here?
Yeah, I'm going to take Detroit. They're red hot. Their offense is on fire. The defense is on fire since week 9. I'm taking the Lions.
All right. They were on fire last week, but I can tell you this. Detroit Lions teams of the past would have coughed up that game. I mean, it was a close game. It could have easily been lost, and they won it. Carolina's 4-3 at home. Here is the record that you probably don't know, even though you're a Lions fan. Detroit is 5-0 when it allows less than 100 yards rushing. Now, the scary thing is they've only played 5 games where they've allowed less than 100 yards rushing. But I don't think the Carolina Panthers will be able to move the ball on them. I think Jared Goff's having a great season, and I think somebody predicted that at the start of the year too, Dan.
Goff, the only issue I have with Goff is he plays like a different man on the road. At home, he's thrown 20 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. On the road, he's thrown 3 touchdowns.
Old Jared Goff didn't play good nowhere, so he's getting better. What do you think, Joe? We both got the Lions. You rolling with the Lions?
I have to. I mean, they're red hot right now, I think, and really, the Panthers just suck. So, you know, you got to take the Lions in this game.
That is
Carolina is a different team since they fired what's his face though.
Yeah, since they got Wilkes and they got rid of Rule, they've played much better. But I mean, this is a game the Lions are playing for everything. And I mean, really, to me, this is like a 51-49 game to me. Not score, but on who's going to win. I think this is going to be razor close.
Well, are the Lions a game and a half out of the wild card?
No, they're
they're like 9th or 10th or something like that.
They're a half a game out. They're 7-7, and Washington aren't they 7-6-1?
I can pull it up. I just
the teams in front of them, like Seattle, for example, is the only team that they could jump.
Seattle's 7-7. Yeah.
But Seattle owns a tiebreaker because they beat the Lions head to head.
But it doesn't matter because Seattle probably won't win any more games this year. But Lions are going to make the playoffs. Next up, we've got the Desmond Ritter-led Atlanta Falcons, which means they can't score points, will be going to the Baltimore Ravens, who can't score points either. The point spread here is 6.5. I think maybe the winner of this game should just be the first team that gets to 7. What do you think,
I like
Joe?
that. I agree. I agree 100%.
First team to 7 wins it, and then they call it a night.
What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, Desmond Ritter, big fan of Desmond Ritter. You know, I'm a UC fan, but because I'm a UC fan, Mike, and I watched the kid play for 4 years. I like the kid. He threw for 93 yards last week. Hell of a week. This game is. I mean, I think the Ravens win. Even with 6.5, I think they win by a touchdown or more. Unless Desmond.
Wait. Hold on. You're taking the Ravens?
I think so.
Are you sure? Well, maybe write it down and change it.
Well, I mean, why is that a bad pick to you, Dan?
Okay. You're taking Baltimore. And I'm going to tell you why that's a bad pick, Joe, because Lamar Jackson's not playing. They have no wide.
What's the difference? They couldn't score.
Yeah, Desmond Ritter's playing for the Falcons.
Yeah.
Desmond Ritter's playing for the Falcons.
Well, just go ahead and pick it, Dan.
I'm going to take Atlanta. Because
I hope Atlanta wins.
Baltimore cannot score. Maybe Baltimore wins, but this is going to be 12 to 10 or something ridiculous where all the points come from Justin Tucker. It's going to be ugly. I'm going to take Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm taking Atlanta too. I think Atlanta can actually beat them. I mean, because the Baltimore Ravens have proven they can screw up any game at any time. Next up, we've got the Washington Commanders, who Dan needs to lose. They're playing at the San Francisco 49ers.
Let's go Niners. I'm taking San Francisco the whole way. I don't care if this line was 14 points. I'm taking San Francisco. Their defense is the reason. The defense, the coaching, the running game, all of it. And my new favorite quarterback, Brock Purdy. As long as that kid's playing, they'll be fine.
Okay.
Let's go Raiders.
Well, I think Brock Purdy.
The Commanders down.
Yeah, I think Brock Purdy's still irrelevant when it comes to the 49ers.
He is not Bailey Zappi. Go ahead.
He's still irrelevant because the only thing that really matters on that team.
Hey, you don't say that.
Yeah, the only thing that really matters on that 49ers team is that incredible defense. And I don't know how Washington scores a point going into this week unless they absolutely just luck out and their defense scores on a Brock Purdy pick six. So I'm going to go with 49ers.
Remember this, though. This is 10 points, and it's not like the Niners score a lot of points either.
I know, but I don't think the Commanders – I mean, I think the Commanders are going to be lucky to score 3. So
who are the Commanders going to start at quarterback?
I have no idea.
I mean, Heineke.
Well, because I heard Carson Wentz was ready and they were considering it for this week.
Screw that. Sit that man unless Heineke gets hurt. The team doesn't want to play for Wentz. They love Heineke.
Which one of the players told you this?
I mean, it's been reported from different team beat writers.
Why haven't you reported anything lately, Joe? Or what's your name? Dan. I almost forgot your name because you don't really exist anymore. Go ahead.
Nice. No, I was gonna say but no, like if you check like Washington Redskin beat reporters or whatever, they've been talking about this. Heineke has the locker room. Like in New York with the Jets, they love Mike White in the locker room. The guys want Mike White. You got teammates
because he's not Zach Wilson. That's a little bit
different. They hate Zach Wilson and they love Mike White, even though Wilson might be more physically talented. They don't care. You got offensive linemen wearing Mike White t-shirts on game night for the Jets. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. And in Washington, apparently it's the same thing. One of the main radio guys here in New York is a huge Washington fan. And every chance he gets, which isn't often because they berate him for talking about for talking about the Commanders. Here, New York on a New York Giants, New York Jets station. But anyway, every time he gets the chance, he talks about how much Heineke's loved by the fans, by the community, by the locker room. So I think they stick with Heineke. I don't care if Wentz is healthy.
All right. I'm going to go with the Washington Commanders here. I think people forget Washington was on a 6-0-1 run against the spread until the Giants game. That includes a road win over the Eagles, correct?
You're
talking a spread win, dude. We got to cover the 10 points, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at that, what's the injury status for Washington?
All right. So for Washington, the good news is Chase Young is coming back. He doesn't carry an injury designation. He's been practicing for a few weeks, but they haven't taken him off the IR. But he's back after tearing his ACL last year. Other than that, Sadiq Charles, their offensive guard, is out. Cameron Curl is questionable with an ankle injury, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
And this is 10 points. I'm taking the Commanders. I think the Commanders cover this. I think this is my long shot dark horse for an upset of the week, too. I believe the Commanders can win this game.
All right.
Because I'm telling you this, there's more film on Brock Purdy right now. And Brock Purdy looks Purdy right now, but he hadn't played anybody that can play defense at all. The Commanders do have a good front seven. They can get after you a little bit. And it's not like the 49ers are scoring bunches of points with Brock Purdy or Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, hell, when they shut out, who was that, New Orleans a few weeks ago, they beat them 13-0. If I could just get a field goal and a safety, hell, I'd have covered them. All right, we got a comment. Adam Archer. He's got a happy face.
Okay,
yeah,
Adam.
That's more like a gangster look, I think.
Is it?
I like
thought
that.
It was a happy face.
Yeah, like the sunglasses. I know that guy.
I like the sunglasses smiley.
I figured you did. It looks like like somebody with glasses and a smiley face. But
yeah,
all right, next up, the Philadelphia Eagles at 13-1 at the Dallas Cowboys 10-4. The Cowboys are favored by 4.5. It's Gardner Minshew's show this week, Joe. Look at that!
You kidding me?
Sylvester
Yeah,
Stallone's
that
calling
was
me
great.
again.
What is this, amateur hour?
Well, Sylvester Stallone's calling me.
Put your damn phone on silent.
Jalen Hurts playing this
Amazing.
week.
I wish I had you on silent. This should be a hell of a lot better. Go ahead, Joe. No, Gardner Minshew's playing. I already told you
Yeah.
this.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention to you. I was listening to your phone, Mike. Shit.
Well, Sylvester Stallone. Next time we'll put him on. But the only thing he ever says when he answers the phone is, "Yo."
Yo, Adrian.
So I think the
No,
only
she's
thing
dead, so he doesn't talk about her no more.
the only thing I could say is I think the Eagles are probably going to miss the legs of Jalen Hurts this week. I think really he gets them out of a lot of situations, extends the offensive drives. He's playing well this year. I know you're not a big fan of him, Mike, but he is playing
I never
well.
said I wasn't a big fan of him. I just don't think he's like one of the top 5 quarterbacks.
No, I remember
in the
you
NFL.
saying I hate that fucking guy. That's what I remember you saying.
I never said that.
I know you did.
But that was when we were talking about Dan. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wait.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Okay, I remember.
Hey,
I think the Eagles are going to miss them and miss Jalen Hurts this week. I don't think the Cowboys are playing well either, but they're favored by 4.5. I'm going to have to go with Dallas this week.
All right.
Give up the 4.5.
I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles. I like
Course
Gardner
you are.
Minshew. I think he's a better thrower. And remember this: the Jacksonville Jaguars had 503 total yards last week. I will make the case that Gardner Minshew, with the weapons the Eagles have, is more deadly than Trevor Lawrence with the Jaguars' weapons. I'm going to go with Philadelphia because this is the other thing. Everything points here towards a big Cowboys victory, right? You don't have to face Jalen Hurts. You know, the game doesn't really matter, which always helps Cowboys because they choke in games that matter. I just think Philadelphia is going to jump up and they're going to win this game. And if they just lose by 4, I'll be happy. Dan?
you stole my thunder, man. I'm going to take Philadelphia as well. I don't care that Jalen Hurts is out. Yes, he's been playing great this year. But let's be honest. He might have maybe the best supporting cast of anyone in the NFL.
No, he doesn't. That's absolutely asinine to say.
All together.
No, that's asinine to say.
They've got an elite defense. They've got maybe the best best offensive line in football.
Well, good for them. The Bengals defense is a lot better than Eagles defense.
They have a top 3 rushing offense.
Mm-hmm. The Bengals don't have to because they got Joe Burrow.
They've got great weapons on the outside. They've got an elite tight end when he's healthy, a top 5 tight end when he's healthy in Dallas Goedert. They've got a shit ton of weapons. They've got a shit ton of talent. And as much as I like Hurts, I think Minshew will be just fine.
Yeah, because if the Bengals play the Eagles, you would pick the Bengals just because Burrow's a lot better than Hurts.
Yeah.
And the Bengals have the most complete team in football.
Maybe. Yes, maybe.
Who would be better? I mean, if Joe Burrow's, that much better than Jalen Hurts. All right, Joe, what do you think?
Yeah. I already gave you my pick.
He said that.
All right, next up, we've got the Immaculate Reception repeat from 1972. The 6-8 Raiders, the 6-8 Steelers. The Steelers are favored by 2.5. Whoever wins this game, if things fall right, could find themselves in the middle of the wild card race, Joe.
I think Franco's going to be shining down on the Steelers this week. I actually think the Steelers, even though they've looked terrible this year, I think they're a better team than the Raiders. Who's playing quarterback this week?
For who?
The Steelers.
Does it matter? They're all the same.
It does kind of.
Probably
playing. No, it's Pickett back. Didn't he? He was hurt. He didn't play last week, did he?
He's not. I don't see him on the injury report.
He didn't play last week. Mitch Trubisky did. If you want us to do your homework for you, Joe, just ask us. And
I'm saying I knew. I was just confirming for conversation. Mike, shit. I know Mitch Trubisky played last week, and but I'm still going to take the. I'm still going to take the Steelers. And
you don't have to get so flustered. I mean,
I'm not flustered, Mike.
I mean, that's what happens when your intellect's so much lower than the other two people on the
Mike?
show. Go ahead, Dan. What do you think?
He's going to take the Raiders.
I am. I am going to take the Raiders.
All right, and I'm taking the Pittsburgh Steelers because the Pittsburgh Steelers actually have a grown man that coaches their team. The freaking Raiders don't. It's going to be a highly emotional game in Pittsburgh, and I think Pittsburgh wins this by the same score they did in 1972. What do you think, Dan? What was the score in 1972, the Immaculate Reception game?
14-13.
You're a moron. All right. Jeez. Joe, do
I
you
have no
know?
idea.
I feel like it was like 20. The Immaculate Reception gave him
y'all just
24.
oh
Yeah,
my
that
God.
was no, we're not.
God. It was 13-7.
Okay.
What did I say?
13.
14-13? I was closer.
It was
Fucking Wheel of Fortune rule.
You
or
should know
whatever
these
that
things.
was.
it was 13-7, Dan.
Because the Raiders scored with like
Come
a
on.
minute and a half left to take a 7-6 lead because Kenny Stabler replaced Daryl LaMonica because Stabler was not the starter at that point yet. But that is the game that I think from then on out, I think Stabler was the starting quarterback for the Raiders of those years. Next up, betting.net is your best bet for casinos and sportsbook sites alike. Check them out. That's all I got for that. I put the really small reading up there. There's not as much to say. All right, guys. The Packers at the Dolphins. The game's in Miami. The Packers are 6-8. The Dolphins are 8-6. Dolphins are only favored by 4, Dan.
You see, my gut reaction is to go with the Dolphins. But I don't know if I really trust Tua the deeper we get into the season, man.
No,
I know
nobody does.
he played well early, then he got hurt. When he plays, they win games, but I hate this -4. If it was like Miami -3, I'd be more confident taking Miami. I'm gonna go with Green Bay. I'm gonna take Green Bay in this one. Just because of my lack of trust. I'm going against my gut. I'm taking Green Bay.
All right, I'm going to take the Miami Dolphins. They are on a 3-game losing streak, but all of those games were on the road against potential Super Bowl contenders. Green Bay's defense, I think, will give up way too many big plays. I think Aaron Rodgers will lead a fourth quarter comeback that'll get him back in the game. I think Miami wins this game, something like 31-24. Joe?
So you taking Miami?
That's what I said.
Okay. This one's a toss-up for me too, Dan.
Tough.
It is tough because I'm just gonna take the Packers. I'm gonna take the points in the Packers.
All right, next up, we've got a classic matchup between the Denver Broncos and the Los Angeles Rams. Denver is favored by 2.5 in LA, but we all know that any team that plays in LA will have more fans than the Rams will. We've got Brett Rippon versus Baker Mayfield. I'm going to go with Baker Mayfield. I'm going to take the Rams into 2.5 points. I think this game is a complete toss-up. I think Baker Mayfield's better than Brett Rippon, and I want the 2.5 points, Dan.
Yep. And we're back to the same pick. I'm going to say the Rams as well for all the reasons you just listed. And as much as I've loved Denver in the past, it's over for all that. I'm off their bandwagon. Game
All
bounces.
right. I'm sure they're upset. Joe, what do you think?
I don't have anything to add, but yeah, I think Baker and the Rams win this one.
All right. Then we got the second to last game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Arizona Cardinals. Tampa Bay is favored by 7.5. This is a must-win situation for the Buccaneers. I think the Cardinals are starting Joe at quarterback this week because
They are.
Who is starting this week?
I think McCoy's.
Let me check the injury.
I thought McCoy might even be out. I'm not sure.
He is. I think McCoy got hurt.
Oh, they don't have the injuries released yet for that game.
I don't think
All right.
Colt McCoy's playing.
All right, I'm going to take Tampa Bay because I think this, from what I saw with Tampa Bay against Cincinnati, they're starting to get their weapons healthy. If they could get, I don't know what the injury status is on Tristan Wirfs, but if they were to get him back and get their defensive guys like Vita Vea back, they could be a dangerous team in an NFC playoff that doesn't look to be real tough, probably more top heavy than anything else. So I'm going to go with the Buccaneers here and give up the points, Joe.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bucs. Give up the points too. I think that was a farce when you watch Tom Brady turn the ball over 4 times. First half against the Bengals, he didn't look bad. So I mean, he's still Tom Brady. I think they handled the Cardinals.
All right, Dan.
Yep, I'm going to take Tampa Bay as well. And for me, it was looking at the injuries. I did find it. It was updated. Colt McCoy is out for week 16 with a concussion, and he is expected to return in week 17. But he is bucking out. I'm going to take Tampa Bay.
All right, last game of the week, Monday Night Football. The Los Angeles Chargers against the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts, of course, just blew the biggest lead in NFL history and lost. The Chargers did not play well, but eked out a win against the Titans. The Titans need a win. As of right now, I think they said it's like the 6th seed in the playoffs. They need a win here. They're at Indianapolis. They are favored by how many points there, Joe?
4.5.
You need to write bigger. 4.5 points, Dan. What do you think?
That's what she said. I'm going to take the Chargers. It's time. It's time. Okay? Justin Herbert needs to play well. The defense needs to get their act together. I want to see the Chargers in the playoffs. I want to see it so bad. They have so much talent on both sides of the ball. It's criminal that they're so damn inconsistent.
It was criminal as their coach. So
yeah.
And you thought it was a great hire. And when we argued
I
about
did.
it a couple of years ago, you called me a fool.
I did. I loved this hire. And Mike, I told you this the other day. I mean,
Just saying, you were right, Mike.
You were right, Mike. It doesn't. I don't say it often, but you.
You can also say it about the Denver Broncos coaching hire too, who you liked and I didn't like.
No,
I don't know if I like the Nathaniel Hackett as much. I love that they got.
They were a Super Bowl contender, so I'm pretty sure you liked him.
Mostly because they got Russell, and I still thought he was good. I guess I was confused.
Or that coach is so bad.
I knew that about you, Dan.
Russell looks that bad.
That too.
Which is possible. All right, so Dan's got the Chargers. Who you got, Joe?
I don't know. I just think it's funny. Dan said he's confused.
Hey, Joe, in honor of Steve Risley, you're a dumbass.
Thank you.
46 minutes in.
Yeah, thank you. No, I think the Chargers, I think they had the potential to be a great team all season. I know Justin Herbert was hurt there for about 4 or 5 weeks, and I know that he wasn't playing well. So, I think the Chargers might be the most dangerous sleeper in the AFC right now, and I wouldn't be surprised for them to make a run at this thing. I think they beat the Colts handily, so I'll give up the 4.5 and take the Chargers.
It's the NFL. Hardly anybody beats anybody handily. What you just got to figure out is if they'll beat them by that amount of points. Because we've seen the Colts beat the Chiefs this year. We've seen the Colts win 4 games somehow. I think the Chargers should beat them. But damn, the way the Chargers play when you think, they should have blown out the Titans last week. That picked me up a game, I believe. And I don't know. I'm going to go with the Chargers because you have to be a moron to pick the Colts against almost anybody right now, except for maybe the Texans. Jeff Saturday has proven why he was a slightly above 500 high school coach and why Jim Irsay is a complete embarrassment to the entire city of Indianapolis. Plus the 2014 where he had like $300,000 on him and all that.
Damn.
Medicine, as his wife probably would call it.
Medicine.
All right. So we've all picked the Chargers, who I would want to make the playoffs, but they should be in San Diego. I hate saying the Las Vegas Chargers. All right, guys.
Chargers, go.
Check this out. I know the other day, Joe, Dan was asking me, I want to start playing social casinos, didn't you, Dan?
I did. I'm so excited.
And then he asked me where to go. And
I know where you can go.
Because I'm in a state of confusion.
I bet you could head on over to betting.net and they will give you the best option.
You're an idiot. Can't you read what's on the damn
screen?
No,
I'm not even paying attention.
Yeah. I told Dan, go sign up with stake.us. Use our exclusive promo code TGT Social, capital letters, to secure your unique 5% rake back bonus. The social casinos, the slots on there are awesome. I'd highly recommend it. I know Dan loved it, didn't you, Dan?
Absolutely. I recommend everyone head over there immediately. Take advantage of that 5%.
Dan's full of shit. He hadn't been on there yet. I'm still trying to explain to him what social casinos are. But if you go to the Grueling Truth, just punch in the search box, social casinos. There's all kind of videos, all kind of shows about it. But it's basically you don't have to use a whole bunch of real money and keep losing your ass and lose your house and end up living in your mom's basement like Dan.
Sick life. Sick life, bro.
And also, remember, what should we remember? Joe, what do you think the top sportsbook comparison site is?
I know I'm gonna get this right this time. It's betting.net. It offers extensive reviews on the best sports books out there.
That was good, Joe.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That was borderline sexy, Joe.
You want me to do it again?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Here's
Dan,
another
you
one.
want to tell us where they can find you on Twitter? And plus, by the way, Dan, I got a message back from the NFL today wanting to know why you wanted credentials to the Super Bowl since you haven't written anything this year.
Because it would be a fun experience for the grueling truth.
Yeah, I don't think I can tell him that. I could send Joe, though. No,
Go,
he didn't
Joe!
write anything either.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, Joe.
All right, you
I
can
write-
follow the Grueling Truth at Grueling Truth. Joe, would you like to speak now before we get done?
No, I'm just saying I write stuff every once in a while, Mike. I mean, you don't have to give me a hard time about it.
No, I was just saying some people ask for stuff, though, like Super Bowl
Oh.
credentials, but yet they don't write anything.
Oh.
And then
Yeah, Dan,
this
you should
week,
try.
the show went so much smoother with Joe putting the stuff on the screen and everything. I mean,
Yeah.
Dan was just a cluster. It was just disturbingly bad. But Dan, tell everybody where they can find you and your significant other, Bobby Hunt, in your NBA show.
You can find me and my bottom bitch on Twitter at
You can't say that, Dan.
Sports. D as in Dan, B
You
as in
can't
Bob.
say that, Dan.
We are also on Instagram. Follow us.
I guess
Reach out
this is
to us
true. You
when
can
it's
say
fun.
it, Joe. If it's true, you can say it, I think.
Yeah.
That's right. That's my day one.
God.
Oh man.
All right, guys. We will be back next week. And if you like the Cincinnati Bengals, tomorrow, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, me and Ty Robbins will be on the Cincinnati Bengals weekly show discussing the past week's game against the Buccaneers and the upcoming game against the Patriots. And for now, we're going to go ahead. We're going to wrap it up. Make sure you check out betting.net. Definitely make sure you check out stake.us. Great social casino. TGT Social in capital letters gets you that bonus. Make sure you check them out. But for now, for Joe Spilman, Dan Kornhauser, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.